Hi, I'm Tina Hudson of Complete in Christ Ministries. Thank you so much for joining me today as we walk through the book of James in Thursday Talk with Tina. Today we're in chapter 4 and we're looking at verse 13 where James gives us some wise advice. Those of us who are older know all too well how quickly life goes by and how important it is to base our plans upon the will of God, for He alone knows what the future holds. James is talking to possibly some wealthy businessmen in this verse who are making plans for the future. And while planning is not wrong, we must include God in those plans, knowing that our plans can change at any minute. In verse 13, James says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell, and make a profit." Then in verse 14, he says, "Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes away." And so James is saying here, it's okay to make plans, but be sure that you include God in those plans. God is a God of order, a God of planning. He has a perfect plan for each of our lives, but He must be the center of those plans in order for them to succeed, in order for them to reap a spiritual harvest. And so James says here, you may go ahead and make those plans, but remember how short life is, how brief it is. He calls it a vapor, where he says it's like the breath that you breathe out on a cold morning, how it's here one minute and then it's gone the next. This past week, I celebrated a rather significant birthday, and Wayne and I celebrated our 45th wedding anniversary. It's hard to believe that we're old enough to have been married 45 years, but the brevity of life is evident in our lives as the time has gone by so quickly. And so James says, remember to hold your plans loosely. Make plans, but remember that God must be the center of those plans. And remember how brief life is. We must use our lives in a way that is pleasing to God. James gives a wise statement when he says in verse 15, "Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and do this or that. But now you're boasting in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil." So James says we should say, if the Lord wills, then we will go and do this or that. God must be in control of our lives, and as a result, He will be in control of our plans. So are you making plans today? And as you're making those plans, are you including God at the center of those plans? Are you realizing how brief and your life is and using the days that we have to bring honor and glory to God? I pray that today you have a blessed day in Jesus, and that you will remember to allow Him to be in control of every moment of each of our days. Thank you, and God